Hello, you guys. How you doing? How's life? What is life? It's a hard question at the moment. Usually it finds one's purpose in life, but my purpose is I can't do at the moment. Yeah, that's what life's definition is nowadays. Okay. All right. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. This is part 2 to a video, so you should actually see part 1. Okay, there's the link right up there. Click it, okay? If you just want to look at this one, well, all right. I hope you go to the first one. Don't be that person and just dislike this one. If you're gonna dislike all the series that I'm gonna put out, okay? Don't just be petty and do one. Go big or go home, right? To those who are not new here, welcome back, you guys. I'm good. I hope you're doing good, like I said before. And no, we can't really talk, or I can't hear you at least. I hope you're good. You should tell me that you're good. Today's video might be a little bit boring, but this is part 2. Okay, I'm gonna give you some. My lens fell out. Bad with. Alright, okay. Obviously, I need to go to the eye doctor because it's broken, which I have an appointment tomorrow, okay? I'm gonna go. Don't at me. Part 2 to this video, we're gonna be going over the global economy this time around, okay? The first one was the introduction. Now we're gonna deep dive into it further and talk about the global economy and what survival instincts are gonna be, or what they are, okay? Well, sit back, relax, and let's get into it, okay? I have a lot to talk about. Excuse me. All right. So first off, recovery from the pandemic will coincide with a recessionary market, compelling fashion players to ramp up resilience planning and adapt their operating models. Companies and surviving the immediate crisis will have made bold and rapid interventions to stabilize their core business before seeking out new markets, strategic opportunities, and future pockets of growth in a global fashion industry undergoing dramatic change. That's a lot, okay? Whew, that was a mouthful. So what does that mean? Well, let's put on some music and deep dive. Let me give you some statistics, okay? More than 70% of European and US consumers expect to cut back spending on apparel compared to a 40 to 50% drop in global discretionary spending. A 2 to 3 month lockdown will cause financial distress for 80% of European and North American fashion businesses. That's a lot. That's 80% of European and US. North, like all of it, not just US, all of it. That means they won't survive. 80% of them won't survive. So, like, what's gonna happen? I don't know. So the luxury sector may suffer more than other segments. This is due to the luxury sector reliance on travel retail, which is 20 to 30% of the industry's revenue is generated from luxury purchases made outside of the consumer's home countries. So for example, I don't travel, but if somebody else does, let's say they're from America and they're going to London. Well, personally, I would buy from Burberry London because Burberry is like London fashion OG original. Okay, I wouldn't buy it here in the States, so that's just one purchase that I would do. And it's called travel retail. It's a thing. High dependency on department stores and experiential retail is going to be a big thing since people can't travel anymore. We have to bring those special places to shopping like Paris, Milan, London, Los Angeles, New York, Seoul, South Korea, Tokyo, Japan. Now those purchases that people would make out over there aren't gonna happen because travel is restricted, so gotta bring it to the States or to the local stores now. How's that gonna happen? And 2020 is already shaping up to be the worst year in history of modern luxury. Because again, 20 to 30% of the industry's revenue is dependent on travel retail. Like, if there's no travel, that's 30% gone. So we're sitting at 70%. That's a C. I mean, C's get degrees, but For a company to stay afloat? Not really. Another number, ready? 48% agree that economic uncertainty is preventing them from committing to purchases that they would otherwise have made. So honestly, if this pandemic and all this wasn't happen, I would be spending my money differently. Of course. You know, there was a nice little handbag that I wanted. I'm not gonna buy it now because of what's going on. Discretionary spending will take a backseat. Needs over wants, we already talked about. First video, go to it if you haven't watched it. Needs are over wants at the moment, and what's what? Like fashion, discretionary. It's taking a backseat. In the event that a vaccine is developed, though, some shoppers in certain markets might respond with a momentary euphoric spike in consumption, which is so-called revenge shopping, revenge buying, whatever you want to call it, in which consumers may salve the wound of a month-long lockdown with feel-good spending. People have been just locked up for how long, and they want to go out in the store and go shop. I would love to go into a store where I can feel normal again, but I can't right now. So, will I revenge shop? Well, if I have the discretionary income, I might, but I don't at the moment, so no. There's a lot of factors going on, so. Some digitally adept offerings and business models created pockets of positive momentum by cutting out middlemen and optimizing e-commerce capabilities to reach self-isolating shoppers. So like delivery, so e-commerce has been a big thing, online shopping. How can the online store brand make a transaction and deliver at the same time? And there's just all these other factors, and digital is where it's happening. Now, when it comes to consumer sentiment, that's like consumer confidence, consumer trust, the customer wanting to buy and willingly wanting to buy and look around. Consumer sentiment took up to 2 years to return to normal after previous global crises. Recovery from the 2003 SARS pandemic, 9/11, and the 2008 financial crisis took 6 months for SARS, 1.5 years for 9/11, and 2 years for the 2008 financial crisis. So, respectively, from this report and others in the industry, they are saying it's going to take up about 2 years to return to a normal, confident consumer sentiment that we were used to having before this pandemic happened. Any scenario will likely disproportionately affect the fashion industry given its discretionary nature, and the industry's recovery will lag behind the rest of the economy. It's just gonna happen because now it's all about local governments and localization and what's gonna happen with all those policies, and opening's gonna be different for every store, every location. You can't base it on one flagship store now. It's gonna lag. It's gonna take a minute, okay? Because we try to stay on top of it, some of us, but there's a lot going on now. Just saying. Reopening of physical stores does not mean business returns back to normal. When 90% of apparel stores reopened in China, but fall purchases were still down 50 to 60% below pre-crisis levels. And that's because people are still scared to go out. There's not a vaccine. There's still the chance of a second wave. You could still get sick if you haven't gotten sick. And are these brands and are the people working for the brands actually, healthy? There are all these precautions, but there's a crisis and death is happening everywhere, so people are scared. It's just human nature, okay? Family science, it's in my degree. Again, first video, go check it out. Fears of a second wave in China are constant, with worrying signs of new small-scale outbreaks around the country at the time of writing. So, depending on local places, like I said already, it's going to depend how we open the fashion world, because right now fashion world is online, not physical, and this is why I'm doing this report, because there's a lot of variables, factors going on. There's so much. Oh, see, look at this person making a mask. Look at her. She is essential. She is doing a good job. Yes, she is. Whoever you are, ma'am, thank you. As India and Indonesia have been severely hit by lockdown of production facilities, leaving millions without jobs and weakening their positions in the value chain. Countries like Italy, Spain, and France potentially faring worse than Germany because, well, let's talk about India and Indonesia. They make a lot of the garments. Orders are being canceled from these big brands, and they're more in textiles for India and Indonesia. When it talks about Italy, Spain, and France, well, France has haute couture. Italy and Spain, leather capitals of the world. Germany, I'm sorry, they don't have much in the fashion world. In the West, there will be different rates of return of consumer confidence based on the speed and effectiveness of government support and how severely hit the country has been hit by by the pandemic. When it comes to government support, other countries do have more support in their country, and that's when we just talk about, I'm not trying to get political here, but socialism, communism, capitalism, which in America we live in a capitalist society, and just by the look of things right now, living here, we don't really trust our government. So, that's all I can say for mine. I know Sweden has a little bit more trust in theirs, and South Korea does too as well. So, here in the States, not so much. The truth, I'm being honest, it hurts sometimes. Companies must reassess their geographical footprint, store network, and growth opportunities while also looking for an emerging white space, be it during recovery or an extended crisis period. Store closures will happen. They need to save on the bottom line, and the bottom line is, how are we going to save money? And those stores who aren't or weren't actually a profitable location that just evened out, they probably won't survive. With a humanitarian crisis unfolding in emerging markets like India, fashion players will now need to reevaluate strategies for which stores to reopen and when and how their supply chain can best support and ramp up. Manufacturers, again, localization, all going to be different. Companies must adopt a recovery position based on impact severity to help prepare for a deployment of a recovery action plan. Brands should review cost bases to identify measures for quick wins, set up employee plans to assess workforce decisions, and rationalize overhead spend to plan for potential store closures. This includes reevaluating and reinventing the supply value chain by reviewing production regularly to identify potential disruptions before they happen in order to cushion the blow when they come to pass, and strengthening regional integrated supply chains. It also means exploring nearshoring activities to bring flexibility and autonomy to their production facilities. Broadly speaking, non-core assets and activities should be divested and stopped to streamline current offerings and ensure efficient execution. In a nutshell, we manufacture a lot overseas for American companies, and policies and governments are completely different, of course. So we should really start thinking about our supply chain and trying to bring it back over here to the States. So then, yes, we have a federal government and different states governments, but it's easier to cushion the blow, and we're not dealing with a huge ocean. It's a thought, we should have. And when the first signs of normalcy do begin to emerge, companies are cautioned not to be complacent. Do not get comfortable. You must double down on recovery and resilience measures, for this will be a time of unprecedented transformation for the global fashion industry. Again, second wave could happen. You don't know. Well, that is actually it for part 2. There's a lot going on. This was just the survival instincts. The next one we're going to go over is consumer shifts, which is going to be discount mindset and digital escalation. So stay tuned for that one. I hope this was of interest. Like I said, there's a lot going on. Store closures are already happening. Gap has already said some stores will not be opening, and then J. Crew just actually filed for bankruptcy. So that news that's going on in the fashion world. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you like, please, if you haven't, subscribe if you haven't, and comment some fashion news or your thoughts, questions, comments, concerns, anything in the comment section, please. I would really like to hear. There's a lot going on. Engage with me. I read them. I have nothing else to do at the moment. Stay tuned for part 3, and I will see you later. Bye.